Uh, Here we are. I've steam cleaned the thing, and now the problems begin. I need to line bore those out from 35mm to 40mm, and those two bosses. Now, when I was younger, I wouldn't have thought twice about setting about this with a round file and a couple of scrapers and a pot of Prussian blue. But I don't have enough life left anymore, so I'm going to try and set my lathe up as a horizontal borer. I think the most difficult thing will be clamping this in the lathe. So this is me using my lathe as a horizontal boring machine. Well, this is the first decent sized lathe I ever bought, and it's a bit rough and ready. They were manufactured for and marketed by Elliott, I believe, and it has a few glaring faults, one of them being the feed speeds are far too coarse. I think the finest pitch we've got is 9 thou per revolution, and it could do to be much finer than that, but never mind. The other really peculiar fault is its indexing. For every thou marked, it moves the tool 2 thou, which is really odd. So you cut 4 thou, and on the cross slide, index slide, it does 1¼ thou per thou. Anyway, for all its faults, and in spite of the fact that I have had and have much better lathes, I keep this one because it's really versatile. And one of the handy things is it has these T-slots on the saddle. So today I've set it up as a horizontal borer. A bit of a lash up as usual, but it works. So in the chuck I've got a piece of bar, and fixed in the piece of bar I have a piece of 1/4 inch round tool steel fixed by a hexagon screw. So when I want to take a cut, I measure from the back of the bar to the tip of the tool with the mics. Then I measure the size of the diameter we've cut out, and on the next cut we can add a little bit more on, and so on and so forth until the job's done. At the far end I have had it set in the centre, and it's just away from the centre at the moment so that I could take a measurement. Today I'm using a telescopic gauge. When I was a lad, the foreman of the checking department held these things in absolute contempt, and would tell us they were only accurate to 10 thou. Well, I think that's more down to the fella who's using them, because I've certainly measured things more accurately than 10 thou with them. And let's see what we've got now. Just short of 1.5 inches, and we need another 80 thou off this. So I now make my little cutter protrude a little, and I reckon we can take another 10 thou at a time off, maybe. Just poke that cutter out a little bit. It's near a 20 thou. Don't want to take too much off at a time, because this lathe isn't fastened down and it does tend to chatter a bit. It's more like it. I'm feeding by hand because I just get a bit more control than I get with the power feed. Through the first side. Here we are, that's another job done. The holding fixture I made is a bit rough and ready, but then so's the job. It was a really odd shape and I could have messed about all day trying to fix it down, so eventually I temporarily welded the thing onto a couple of bits of channel iron and bolted that to the lathe. I have used wood before now with perfect success. People frown on it, but wood's good stuff. I once made a V-belt pulley for a compressor out of a piece of oak as a temporary measure, and we used it for 20 years. And we would probably be still using it if I hadn't taken the motor off and used it on something else, that big drill over there. Now I've set it up to do the other pair of bosses, and we should soon be complete. One thing that I would do is put a grub screw in behind the cutting tool so that I have a bit more control over its setting. Heavy cut, so before I take a measurement I'm going to take a second cut without altering the tool, just to use up the amount of cut that's left by deflection. Let's have a look. A couple of thou undersize, which we can just hone out to get a nice fit on the pins. Excellent.